2003 and said in the near future, Jennifer government imagines a world run by American corporations so mighty that workers name themselves after their employers. Hyperbole? We'll ask John and Jane Wal-Mart. In our third story in the countdown, they are not being told how to name themselves yet, but they may have been told how to vote for themselves. The nation's largest private employer using fear tactics to thwart the passage of the Employee Free Choice Act, which enables workers to unionize without secret ballot, a law Barack Obama supports and John McCain opposes. According to a Missouri woman, one of about a dozen workers interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, the meeting leader said, "I am not telling you how to vote, but if the Democrats win, this bill will pass, and you won't have a vote on whether you want a union. I am not a stupid person. They were telling me how to vote." Wal-Mart says, "No, we believe the Employee Free Choice Act is a bad bill, and we have been on the record as opposed to it. If anyone representing Wal-Mart gave the impression they are wrong and acting without approval, we regularly educate our associates on issues which impact our company." And this is an example of that, perhaps leaving the intimidation to Republican strategist Mike Murphy, who masterminded this dubious campaign for a group called Coalition for a Democratic Workplace.
Hey, you don't have to be here. Take a walk.
Today, when workers vote on having a union at their workplace, they use a secret ballot. But a new law could change all that.
How you doing?
Who are you?
What do you got there?
My secret ballot.
Oh, not anymore, it ain't.
Who are you?
Under a card check law, workers would just sign a card. And everybody would know how they voted. Tell the candidates to protect worker privacy.
Do it.
Chris Hayes, Washington editor of The Nation, joins us now. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
What Wal-Mart did here, clearly there was some moral intimidation in this, but do we know, can we tell if it's legal intimidation?
Well, we can't with the facts as we have them in the Wall Street Journal story. Of course, you could open an investigation either through the Department of Justice or the Department of Labor, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I mean, the Bush administration for the last 8 years has shown absolutely zero interest in pursuing any instances of violations of labor law. And in fact, the Department of Labor has sort of pivoted and put all their energy on trying to go after unions violating labor law. So I don't think it's going to be very easy with the current administration to get to the bottom of what happened.
Perversely, might the attempt to get X thousand votes for John McCain for Republican Senate and House candidates, might this have just backfired to some degree on Wal-Mart? I mean, did they just sort of bring this issue to the forefront when maybe, whatever's left of the union base might not be particularly energized? But if you see something like all the managers, department managers and store managers of Wal-Mart have been forced to attend mandatory meetings and listen to how, well, if Obama wins, suddenly this might be an issue after not being one for a while?
I think it is going to backfire. Not only will it backfire politically in the way that you state, but what's so sort of delicious about the whole thing is that it shows exactly why the Employee Free Choice Act is so needed. Because the mechanisms of intimidation that an employer has over an employee are so powerful that running a union election in that context has become incredibly difficult, almost impossible. When your employer can have a mandatory meeting and sit you down in a room for hours on end showing you anti-union propaganda or telling you who they think you should vote for, and you have to listen to them because you can't walk out of that room and not get fired, those are exactly the conditions that create a system in which it's harder and harder for workers to unionize and have a voice in the workplace, and those are precisely the conditions that the Employee Free Choice Act is designed to remedy. So I think the sort of most ironic part about this is that they've shown exactly why the law that they're fighting is so necessary. And
speaking of mechanisms of intimidation, do you think that that web ad from Mike Murphy will accomplish what it set out to do, or just make people remember that The Sopranos is off the air?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's what I would say, right? I mean, if your target is a worker, do you think that your employer and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and these massive businesses are going to spend $50 million so that your rights are protected, so that your pay can be higher? I mean, it's sort of manifestly on its face absurd.
Chris Hayes is the Washington editor of The Nation. As always, thanks for your time, Chris, and have a good weekend.
You too, Keith. Thanks a lot.